Okay, dear Gabriela, I'm here to give you feedback on your listening and speaking Sam. Initially, well, it's a good idea continuing with your site so you can have different learning activities for your students. I'm just wondering what will happen in the future when instead of having one listening activity like the one you have here, you will have more listening activities. Will there be any chance for you to actually show the students activity 1, activity 2, self-access material 1, self-access material 2? So keep that in mind. I find a little bit difficult the links, the navigation that we have here. I guess that you want to show reading and you want to show listening and probably homepage, but it's not very clear for students. So not sure if it would be possible for you to actually provide students with some words. For example, we can see that it says home here about this SAM, but here nothing comes out, so it's a little bit difficult and confusing. Third issue, you have to be careful with the copyright. I'm not certain if the images from the Simpsons family are actually free and that we can actually copy them on our websites. Do not forget that you have to, in a way, introduce each one of the SAMs so students will actually know what the SAM is for. In this introductory activity, it would be interesting if you can actually tell the audience the population this SAM is intended for. So there is certain introduction that I have been telling you along my sessions that would be interesting if you can actually use them. I could see from the activity that in a way it is simple. It has simple objectives, which is in a way good because you are encouraging students to actually learn something simple, and those are your objectives. I would suggest probably reorganizing these objectives from the probably the most general to the most specific, or actually to be really specific. When you are talking about developing active listening skills, what does it mean? Well, the students actually think about the skills and the sub skills of listening. This one to identify words and phrases. So you could say words and phrases regarding family, because that's the topic. So far, we don't have any information about family, so you have to mention that. To be able to retrieve information events from different audience, well, remember that one audio is just enough for students. So if students are given different tasks with the same audios, they will be able to actually understand. And finally, attention, for example, to language problems. And let's say that probably this is the speaking part, so it's important that you actually let them know. But the introductory, let's say, card for the SAM is not available. I like the way that you design the navigation, so I actually guess that you have to tell us and to teach us how to do it. I was a little bit confused with the video because actually the song is not related to the script that we see on the video. So students might be confused with what is sung and with the actually language that is coming out from here. So they never mention she's the mother, her name is Margie, she's 30 years old. So it is confusing for students. The quiz, let's see, where do we go? Interesting, yes, you are using an interesting tool, ProProps. Very interesting because the students can actually interact. My only concern is how students go there, because that's confusing. So it's important to give them certain notes, telling them now click, you will see a quiz, and come back to this site. Issues like this will kind of prevent that students get confused. You're giving them a second video that probably this is the most important one because there is again a use of the images to be teaching issues about the family. Okay. Select the correct word, so we actually have again, I guess, the same quiz that I was seeing. No, there was a different one. Yes, it was this one. My recommendation is that you actually introduce the document. Remember that every single document has to have the purpose, have every document has to have like the introduction for the school, name of the author, who did it, if it is your creation, if you adapt it. So all of these, let's say, copyright compliances are actually a must. What else do we have here? Eh, as you can see, I got lost. And in the post listening, use Homer's description of his family as a model to talk about your family. For the lesson in class, be prepared to talk with your classmate. I would say that before sending students to talk, it would be a little bit of more input, more analysis, probably if you can actually analyze this document, like referring to these so students can actually write. Be careful with the language problems because this is what students will actually learn. The punctuation, things like this, so will be dangerous because you will be teaching this to students. Regarding your rubric, well, I would see that actually the objectives and the instructions are in a way clear. An interesting activity because the students are familiar with the symptom. I have my issues with input. I think that students need more input. Remember that students are sometimes starting to learn the language, so this might be difficult for them. The procedures, I would say that they are quite interesting. Feedback, but the students do not receive certain feedback on each single activity they are given. You are not citing the resources. Let's say that it is attractive because of, let's say, the pictures that you're using. You are showing me that in a way you know how to use some technology, but we need that you actually learn how to help students with the navigation. Though the grammatical problems, please consider that there are certain mechanics, language problems in your SEM.